Oblation Run!
Fighting Maroots,
Isaw!
Sunken Garden,
Lantern Parade!
Uta,
Puso!
UP.
Pasok ka rito!
Tara sa kwentuhang may uta.
Kwentuhang may puso.
UP Atin To.
Kaya alaman, kay buluhan, kay saya. It's K-time!
Magandang araw mga kasali, kwentuhang utak at puso dito po sa UP Atin To. Ako po si JJ Malate. Special pong ating episode dahil hatid namin sa inyo ang isang serye ng kwentuhang utak at puso kasama po ang nagbabalik na K-Time, ang programang pangradyo ng UP Korea Research Center or UPKRC. Kasama pa din po natin sa ating kwentuhang utak at puso si Venus Amonte. Hi Miss Venus.
Hello! Magandang araw sa ating mga K-Sali. This is Venus Amonte and welcome to UP Atin To, It's K-Time. Dito sa ating episode series, sama-sama nating tatalakay na experiences ng UPKRC delegates ng Connect 2025 mula sa kanilang mga kwento, learnings, and unforgettable moments. Ang Connect ay naglalayong i-highlight ang kahalagahan ng Korean studies sa Philippine context at mas palalimin pa ang engagement ng Filipino youth sa Korea-Philippines relations.
Katulad ng mga nabanggit namin sa previous episode, we'll get to hear first-hand stories ng ating delegates sa kanilang Connect experience beyond the program itself and what makes it truly memorable for them. Magandang araw sa iyo, Venus. Parang twinning na naman tayo today.
Oh, yes.
Hindi po kami nag-uusap mga kasali, pero today we wear blue. Last time ay parang print yung damit natin, di ba?
Yes.
Pero hindi po kami nag-uusap. Ang galing, nagko-connect po kami sa mga ganitong
Yes.
bagay, 'di ba? Para sa ating mga kasali, pwede kayong makisali sa ating kwentuhan. Ipadala po ang inyong mga komento kung meron kayong shoutout or greeting sa comment section po ng ating Facebook Live. Tayo po ay napakikinggan sa DZUP 1602 kHz sa inyong mga radyo, audio streaming sa dzup.org. Napapanood po tayo sa official Facebook page at sa YouTube channel ng DZUP.
In our previous episode, we had Gab from Ateneo, Sierra from FEU, and Mika from Miriam College kung saan ibinahagi nila sa atin ang kanilang karanasan at initial reflections tungkol sa Korea. Pati na rin ang mga activities, cultural sites, universities that they visited. Kung hindi nyo pa yung napapanood, tingnan na lang natin ang saved livestream mula sa DZUP social media pages. At ngayon naman, mula sa kwento ng preparation, i-connect naman natin ang mga ito sa experience nila sa Korea. And para sa episode na ito, samahan nyo kami sa isang biyaheng patungong Korea, hindi bilang turista, kundi bilang scholars, delegates, and cultural learners. Tampok ngayong araw ang kanilang mga hinanaing mga Bogoshipdayo.
Bogoshipda.
Mula sa campus visits, lectures, hanggang sa pag-explore ng iba't ibang lungsod ng South Korea.
Kung interested po kayo sa Korean-Philippines relations, cultural exchange, or gusto nyong maranasan ang ganitong opportunities, this episode is for you. At para samahan tayo sa usapan ngayong araw, makikisali po sa ating kwentuhan sina Chynna, si Migs, and Marge.
Welcome, welcome! Unahin muna natin si Chynna Luis Riego, MA Studies from the University of the Philippines Asian Center. Welcome, Chynna.
Bati ka sa ating mga, huwag ka mahiya. Tayo lang to. Bati ka sa ating mga kasali ang tawag namin sa aming mga taga-subaybay.
Okay. Hello po mga kasali. Ako po si Chynna. Opo, tama po, yun po talaga yung pangalan ko, no? Very international.
Correct.
So, ako po si Chynna Riego, currently a master student sa Asian Center, studying Northeast Asia, and then ang focus ko po talaga ay Korea Studies. So,
Thank you, Chynna. Welcome sa ating programa. Kasama rin po natin sa ating usapan ngayong episode si John Miguel Bersamira, Juris Doctor student from the University of the Philippines College of Law. Shout out, Migs. Magandang araw.
Hello po sa ating mga kasali. So, ako po si John Miguel Bersamira, but you can call me Migs. I graduated from UP Baguio. I graduated with a degree in BA Social Sciences, and now I am currently in the UP College of Law. So, hello, sana maging productive ang ating discussion today.
Yes. And last but not the least, we have Margret Gadia, BA Linguistics, Plan C Korea from the University of the Philippines, Diliman. Hello, Marg.
Hi po, I am Margret Gadio, but you can call me Ayan. Hi po. I'm Margret Gadjo, but you can call me Marg. I'm a fourth year BA Linguistics student here from UP Diliman, Plancy, Korean.
Thank you. Marg, di ba? Marg,
Yes,
hindi
Marg.
Marge.
Marg.
Okay, Marg. Kasama natin sa kwentuhan si Chynna, si Migs, and si Marg. Simulan natin. Welcome to UP Atin To, Muli. Simulan natin ang ating kwentuhang utak at puso. Balikan muna natin before or during Connect. We wanted to know paano nabuo or mas napalalim yung interest nyo muna sa Korean-Philippine studies. Pwede nyo bang i-share sa amin? Kasi ngayon maraming nahihilig sa K-culture. Pero kayo, paano, kasi you took it a step further, di ba? What drew you specifically to Korean-Philippine studies or relation? Maybe we can start with kahit sino pwede magsalita. Kahit sabay-sabay pa kayo magsalita.
Siguro I'll start na lang po. Ako po talaga, ang background ko is on international relations. So, even my undergraduate degree, doon po talaga ako nag-start. And then, siguro similar to what others have been parang introduced to, I grew up in a household of Korean dramas talaga yung pinapanood. So, it was my mom actually who inspired me the most to take on Korean studies. And then, since
Lapit ka lang.
Ay, sorry
Yeah.
po. So, since I'm now doing my master's degree, so mas mas nag-deepen lang yung interest ko on Korea, Philippines because I get to know Korea beyond the Hallyu wave. So, I get to know more of their societal issues, challenges, and then, ano ba si Korea beyond what we usually see in TVs and dramas. So, I much appreciated that one. And siguro it also helped that my faculty advisor also challenges us every time na when we do research or when we do mga publications, we always link it to the Philippines. So parang, how will your study or your research contribute to the betterment of the Philippines? So parang, even if you're Korea majors, you still have to go back into your roots. So parang, how can you do that? How can you bridge two countries and then address these issues together? So yun po, at least for my end.
Thank you, Chynna.
From my end naman po, similar kay Ate Chai, siguro nag-start din from interest in K-drama, in K-pop. Then, parang it's so superficial of a view of Korea. Kung titignan mo lang siya in terms of soft power, what they call the soft power. So, I think in my last year in my undergraduate program, we had this course on governance and politics of East Asia. So particularly we studied governance and politics of Japan, Korea, and Taiwan. And talagang parang nag-resonate sa akin na parang there's more to K-pop, to K-drama sa Korea. So parang dun nag-start yung interest ko into researching more about their history, their politics, their societal structure, and all of that. So parang naging mas maging malalim yung pagtingin ko sa Korea starting from that course. Ayun.
Thank you, Migs.
Sa akin naman po, it really started with K-pop. When I was 12, I was introduced
Parang
to K-pop.
pare-pareho na yan. Isa.
I was introduced to K-pop, and because syempre na-introduce ako to like foreign music, I also wanted to understand what they were singing about. And I think doon talaga nabuksan yung interest ko in language, which is probably why I'm in linguistics right now. And yung interest na yon led to me choosing Plan C Korean in my program, which means na parang I kind of have a minor in like Korean language, so we're studying it as a language so we can learn how to speak it, ganon. So parang it felt like a natural move to also look into like the culture, the lifestyle, because you can't separate the language from those. So joining Connect really was, I think it was a natural next move for me.
Thank you so much for your answers. Actually, marami sa ating na-affect talaga ng soft power ng Korea kasi early 2000s naging very lawak yung K-drama, K-pop. So, moving on, dahil isang taon na nakalipas mula noong nagkaroon
Isang taon na?
Yes.
Ngayon pa lang tayo mag-uusap.
So, dahil isang taon na nakalipas mula noong nagkaroon kayo ng study tour sa Korea, Pwede nyo bang i-recap ang overall flow ng Connect program from arrival hanggang last day? Ano siguro yung pinaka-iconic moments dun sa 2 weeks na nandun kayo sa Korea mula July hanggang August?
Siguro para i-summarize lang yung trip so parang to summarize yung trip, parang we visited different cities in Korea, for example Incheon, then Seoul, then Jeonju, then Busan. So those cities we visited, different universities we visited, we attended lectures prepared to us by the teachers and staff in those universities, and we also visited the different mga cultural sites in those specific cities. So I think that's the overall view of what really happened in those 2 weeks. So yan.
Yes.
Ayan, may mga photos tayong
Yeah.
pinapakita.
I think I contributed the photo. So, siguro adding to what Mig said. So, aside from university visits, since this is really more of a cultural exposure than for us, so we visited a lot of museums, mga cultural sites, and other areas that you don't usually parang kasama sa staple tourist attractions. So, honestly, personally, ako po, it was not my first time visiting South Korea. But because of the program, I was able to somehow reconnect and then deepen my understanding and vision, or at least kung paano ko po nakita si Korea. So, siguro what I can highlight from this slide is that the top left is actually from the War Museum. So, nandun po yung mga ibang, it highlighted the Korean War. So, may mga gamit po doon actually na galing sa North Korea when we were there. And then, these are also other areas that we visited. Siguro, aside from Gyeongbokgung Palace, which is one of the most top attractions there, I also have to share about the United Nations Memorial Cemetery in Korea. So basically, that's where it's a United Nations place, and then most of the veterans who fought during the war are honored there in the cemetery. And then siguro last na lang po is if you can see the bears there in the traditional clothing of Korea. It was it was a very accidental parang visit kasi we were strolling around in Sadong. And then we pass upon by this exhibit. Tapos yung exhibit niya was about that, yung mga may bears and traditional Korean costume. It was a fusion of contemporary and traditional Korean culture. And then actually ngayon po, so we met there Miss So. And then right now, which is parang since 1 year na nga, and it's also one of the biggest achievement I can say for the program is that Miss So is actually holding an exhibition here in UP for that exhibition na ginawa niya sa Seoul. So it was parang a full circle moment also for us kasi we saw her creations in Korea and now we can see it here in our campus. Yeah.
Thank you. With such a full Connect itinerary, you guys visited different cities. Nabanggit din sa mga previous episodes, no? And you experienced so many activities. Meron ding mga moments na syempre hindi mawawala, yung mga tumatak talaga sa inyo. Pagkwentuhan natin yun. Sa anong part ng itinerary yung pinaka sa tingin nyo nag-stand out sa inyong experience in this Connect 2025? Marg?
Okay. For me, siguro, simulan ko na lang. If I were to pick like a favorite city sa lahat ng nabisita namin, because it was a lot. I mean, for a 2-week trip,
Yeah,
4 cities. Yeah, so for me siguro, I would pick Busan. I really like that place. It was also my first international trip, actually. My first time on a plane. So, it was a very unique experience for me. Pinili ko yung Busan kasi it's nearby the sea, ganon. And ang ganda nung, I don't know, is it just me? Ang ganda nung vibe.
Pareho kayo ni nakwento yun ni Gab. Na parang isa sa mga memorable sa kanya yung sa Busan. Tas dun daw yung pali-pali culture. Naalala mo?
Hindi daw niya in-expect na dahil malayo daw sa Seoul.
Oo nga.
It wouldn't be as fast-paced.
Correct.
Yeah, because bumisita po kami sa, I think, Kokche Market, which is basically palengke siya doon. And it's very, it's a very local market. Like, a lot of the people there are like older, ganon. So, sobrang siguro na culture shock ba? Like, okay. So ayun, and then my favorite place na hindi ko talaga makalimutan is we visited Bosudong, which is like a book alley. It's like, imagine it's like parang book sale but like a whole street. And it was so fun because I saw super daming selection ng books and it's all like secondhand and ang ganda nung quality. And I love books. So when I was there, it's like, oh. So I went back a second time and we had like a free time before our flight. I think the next
back
day.
to Manila,
I went back a second time and then I bought a lot of books. So pagbalik namin, yung like half of my luggage is just the books. It's like 7 kilograms. I
Oh my
think.
God.
So that's my parang pinaka-favorite na parang experience in Korea. I think everything naman that we did, a lot of walking.
Yes.
I think it's the most I've walked in my
Hiking.
entire life. So,
True.
very memorable siya for me.
Thanks, Marg. Si Migs.
Ayun, parang lahat ata kami, most of us, favorite yung Busan. Pero,
Hindi ba yung Myeongdong? Parang, may naaalala kasi akong may story daw sa Myeongdong eh.
pero for me, siguro yung pinaka-highlight for me is yung when I rode a bike by the Hana River. Siguro, parang it's a dream come true na parang once na napapanood ko lang yun sa mga K-drama na nagpipiknik, like they rode a bicycle by the Hana River. Pero once you get to experience that firsthand, parang it's a surreal experience talaga. And also we kinda like, what do you call this? Mini picnic by the Hana River. We ate,
Mga
convenience store food, mga noodles and K-chicken. So, parang it's parang aside from like yung parang academic background and cultural background ng program, it's really good na mag-immerse yung yung parang life ng locals there. So, yun. Sobrang memorable lang na experience na yan.
Wow, thanks, Migs.
Siguro sa akin, I'll focus talaga on small things. Very sentimental kasi ako as a person. So, yung small things talaga yung mas magiging memorable for me. So, for example, ako actually, I was, if you know stamp hunting sa Korea, ang dami kasing ganun sa Korea na nakikita ko lang sa mga Instagram reels, ganyan. So, sabi ko, I also want to do that. So, every time na may nakikita kaming stamp, inaano ko lang sila. So, uy, may stamp dito! May stamp dito, pwede kayong mag-stamp. So, yung mga ganong moments. And then, siguro, aside from that, there was also this in Busan University of Foreign Studies, since they offer Philippine Studies. Patapos na rin yung program at that time, pero nakamit kami ng student na marunong mag-Filipino.
Wow.
So,
Pero Korean.
Yeah, Korean
talaga
siya. So, nagulat lang din kami na, syempre, we are studying about their culture. But then, meron din palang interest yung mga Koreans to study our own culture. So, syempre may pride moment din yan
Yes.
as a Filipino, di ba?
Totoo.
Parang, Philippines! Ganon! So,
Philippines.
Uy, Philippines! Ganon. So, parang it was also a good experience for us na it also shows na we can also appreciate our own culture while also studying another culture. So, yung talaga, I think sa amin, Busan really is one of the memorable experiences for us.
Oh, I really like that last answer especially. Kasi di mo akala na ikaw turista, tapos makakita ng tao na.
That's so nice.
Oh, that's really interesting. Pero, aside from everything that we've shared so far, kung makakapili kayo na isang defining moment from the entire trip, what do you think would it be?
Gusto ko yung defining moment. Parang defining gravity talaga siya.
Parang winning moment ba yun?
Winning moment.
Ah,
Let's start with Chai.
agad siya.
Si Chai agad.
Defining moment, siguro kasi I'm also working, well, when I was doing the program, connected pa ako sa university. So, I was still working at the linkages office. So, hindi bago sa akin yung makipag-interact with
So,
university.
international
Yes.
relations talaga.
Yeah, so international relations talaga yung professional and academic track ko. So, it was not new to me to get to know more to get to know international delegates and then get to know their universities. So, siguro my defining moment really is every time that we visit a university, parang it's culmination of all the things that I did for the university. Yung work ko kasi is also that. So, for example, sa Dongguk University, I remembered, ako po yung nag-process actually nung agreement between UP and Dongguk University, and visiting them firsthand. Parang, ay, okay, worth it pala yung pagod ko. Parang ganon. Kasi I am seeing all of the things that I was working on. So, like, sa emails ko lang sila nami-meet, nakikita, and then when I visit, andito pala talaga sila, they are real actual universities. So, at that time when I was starting, parang I kept on switching hats from being a student and then being a university staff. So, it was a defining moment for me kasi of course, it blends in both of my worlds talaga, that I'm able to experience that in this lifetime. So, yeah.
Nag-collides yung two roles ni Chay.
Yeah.
How about you, Migs? Meron bang most important or meaningful moment sa'yo?
Siguro yun, nag-visit kami sa embassy ng Philippines sa Korea. Siguro, a highlighting moment siya for me because parang na-expose ako sa what more opportunities could I have in the future if I pursue law. So parang before kasi parang I have this notion na if I enter law school, I would be limited sa like handling cases locally, ganon. But when we visited yung embassy sa Korea, parang mas na-introduce sa akin yung workings ng like yung mga people and staff sa embassy as a consuls, mga and staffs like that. Pero parang mas lumawak yung horizon ko na possible pala na parang opportunity here na ma-apply ko yung parang yung interest ko with Korea or with other with traveling abroad, and parang ma-combine ko yung interest ko with my current academic status right now as a law student. So yun.
Thanks, Migs. Mark?
For me, yung defining moment ko would probably be the Wednesday demo, which is like...
It was also mentioned by other delegates as well.
It's like
yung
the
Wednesday
fourth or fifth day, I think. Because the whole time before going to Korea, from yung taxi namin ni Migs papuntang that's the first time we met sa taxi. Nag-share kami ng Grab. Like, yun yung iniisip ko, like, oh my gosh, I have to speak. I'm not a public speaking person. Tapos I have to do it in a different language. And also, I'm studying Korean. I'm not exactly very confident about it. Kahit na it's been, I don't know, 3 years probably. So, when I was already there, I think I was shaking. Like, my hands were shaking. That was I spoke in front of all these people in the demo, and it's something that really it was a very important moment for me because it's related to like women's issues, ganyan, historical issues. And then sabi nga nila when after the demo, may nagbiro sa akin na pwede na nating biruin si Ate Marg kasi tapos na yung stressful moment for her. I think parang nakahinga talaga ako ng...
Hindi namin siya makausap na maayos before that.
Ganun ka-serious yung Mark. Talaga.
Medyo nag-lock in ako doon, like the days leading up to it. Yeah, overthink ko talaga siya. Pero when I was there, it was a very unique experience. Like, it was a protest, so speaking in front of everyone, as someone
meron tayong photos ni Mark na pwedeng ipakita. Yung nagsasalita siya dun mismo sa protest.
Yes. That day, I intentionally actually wore
purple.
Because like, women, gano'n.
So, yun daw yung color.
Yeah. So, ayun. So, I was very nervous about it, pero I'm very thankful na I was given that chance to do it. I think, lagi kong sinasabi, when I came back, yun yung unang kong kinuwento sa nanay ko. Sabi ko na, I think yun yung defining moment that even if I forget everything from the trip, it's been a long time. I've been telling them kanina na I don't remember half of the trip anymore. Pero yun talaga yung moment talaga na, and I think siguro connected din doon because I was speaking in a foreign language while doing the speech in front of everyone. It's a very short speech. I think in general then, I think the trip, what defined the trip for me is speaking Korean with the locals as someone who's studying the language. Kasi I didn't realize that they would understand me. The first time I spoke to someone, I think it was in Insadong, I was inquiring about the items kasi bibili ako ng pang souvenir. Tapos sabi niya, oh, your Korean is really good. It's like, Thank you po, parang ganon.
Paid off.
Instant discount.
Galing!
May discount agad.
May discount agad.
Tapos nakakahingi ako ng discounts, ganun. So parang, ayun talaga yung mga defining moments for me that I would look back fondly on.
Ayan, salamat sa pag-recap ninyo sa Connect Itinerary. This time naman, tunguhin natin yung personal reflections. Mag-shift tayo sa ating personal lens. Kung ano ang ating mga kasama pala ako. Kung ano yung mga napag-aralan nyo sa labas ng itinerary plans. Meron bang topic or lecture na pinakatumatak naman sa utak at puso ninyo? Sa other delegates, nababanggit nila si Mr. Kim daw. Miss Aaron Kim ba? Tama ba?
Yes.
Siguro sa akin yung sa Chynna University, yung seasonal workers. There's a talk about seasonal workers on Filipino farmers where parang nag-recruit sila ng mga farmers here tas dinadala sa Korea for a season, like para mag-farm doon. So parang sobrang nag-struck sa akin yung lecture na yun because it really highlighted yung problem natin sa agriculture here in the Philippines. Like, we are an agricultural country, but why are we importing our farmers para mag-farm sa Korea? So parang sobrang nag-strike sa akin yun na sobrang laking failure ng government when it comes to agriculture that that farmers have to resort being imported abroad just to earn money when in fact there could be a lot of opportunities in agriculture if the government could have more invested in it. So yun, parang yun yung pinaka one of the topics that strike me the most.
Thanks, Migs. Chai?
Ay, ako pala. Ako pala yung next. Siguro, from my end, it was University of North Korean Studies. Kasi, wala naman talaga siya actually lecture per se, but they just really introduced their university to us. They showed their library and resources. And na-amaze ako doon sa amount of resources that they have on North Korea. And actually, nung bumisita kami sa library nila, meron silang TV doon na it shows live feed kung ano pinapanood nila sa North Korea. So it was really an amazing parang moment for me kasi actually when I was there, when I entered graduate studies talaga, I was only solely focusing on South Korea kasi that's really kung ano talaga yung naging interesado ako. But over time, when I went through my graduate study, parang naisip ko din na kulang din yung resources and understanding or studies natin about North Korea. So of course they have this yung mga yung mga usual na very antagonistic yung view or perspective sa kanila. But when we visited University of North Korean Studies, parang they also imparted to us the knowledge or yung parang notion that you have to have an open mind if you want to really be an expert on Korean studies. Kasi we have to remember na Korea is just not South Korea alone. Meron ding North Korea involved. So we have to make sure na we can give both perspectives at the same time. So I think yun po talaga yung what really stuck to me the most during a lot of lecture visits is really that we should always be part of a community of nations and that, baka isolation is one of their coping mechanism, can I say that? But it's just really, if you really want to learn about the culture, the country and all of that, you also have to learn about how Korea came to be as it is now. Yun po.
Oh, I remember, na-mention din yun ni Gab na parang sabi niya, that's something he considered na nagbago daw sa perspective niya about Korea. How about si Marg?
For me siguro yung lecture in I think about religion, politics and culture. Kasi I think kaya siya super memorable for me kasi it's something that we also experience in the Philippines, how religion really bleeds through, like kunyari rising conservatism in people in like hindi lang voters, I think in general in like values ganon, and the culture and how we approach the changing cultural landscape of our country and also in Korea, as well as since you know how Korea has an issue with their low birth rates, ganon. A lot of it with politics and culture really intersect with the religion. So it was very interesting for me. Also as someone who grew up in a religious family. Siguro kasi medyo relate lang ako sa kanya. Like coming from here, growing up in a religious environment, and then hearing about another country facing, I would say, probably somewhat similar issues with regards to it. So it was very enlightening for me because I didn't really think na it was that I guess big in Korea. So hearing about it in like a scholarly perspective was very informative and memorable.
Oh, so taking Margret's keyword of enlightening, marami tayong naging descriptors over with Connect, which was also prevalent with the previous episodes. Marami nagsabi na nakakapagod siya in a good way, it was fun. But I feel like on the top of the list is naging productive siya. So marami tayong natutunan within the classroom and outside of it. So with that in mind, may nagbago ba sa perspective niyo tungkol sa Korea or your field in general? We could have Migs first.
Well, definitely yes. Kasi, syempre, though I started researching about Korea during my last senior year in undergrad, somehow parang nagkaroon ako ng background about their politics now, their history, ganon. But when it's a more, how do I say this, more satisfying feeling na parang nag-i-immerse ka mismo dun how they came about what Korea is now. So parang one of the things na parang nag-highlight for me on that aspect is yung visitation namin sa Independence Hall. So parang it's an experience, though it's a museum of course, pero you get to learn a lot. And parang kasi during yung tour sa museum, parang nagkakaroon kami ng Q&A ni Ma'am Bay about it. Parang tinatanong ko siya ano nangyari here, ganon. Then, well, she gladly answered me. So parang nadagdag yon sa kaalaman ko sa Korea. Parang in general, parang just like any other countries, like the Philippines, Korea has really a rich culture, rich history, and rich politics. So parang it's more than what K-pop and K-drama is portraying it to be. So yan.
Thanks, Migs. Marg?
For me, siguro yung I wouldn't say nagbago. Probably siguro parang na-improve, and then I can like connect it to the Philippines, to my own experience. Una, kung paano sila nagpe-preserve ng history in Korea. Ever since tumapak kami doon, I feel like kahit saan ka lumingon, merong museums, like preserved temples, palaces. It feels like they built this urban place around those like historical sites.
Parang napaka-visible niya.
Yeah. So kahit even if you're in the bus, like makikita mo, ay ayan, may bagong palace and another marker and everything. And then even when we're in Incheon, we were just strolling in Chinatown, tas I think nakailang museum kami doon. So parang it was something that really opened my eyes into historical preservation, and I would say also education, because I think in the Philippines it's not the same. Dito hindi ka madalas makakita ng, let's say, historical sites in, I don't know, somewhere here in QC. Siguro I would say ang closest dito is probably the tower in Quezon City Memorial Circle, and I can't think of anything else na immediately visible. Pero doon kahit saan ka tumingin meron. And then another thing na talagang made me feel something is the transportation. I think I spent half of my life commuting.
O nag-commute daw kayo doon.
Yes.
Wala kayong ibang ginawa kundi mag-commute at maglakad.
I think we tried everything, subway, like buses, KTX, like taxi kami, everything. So parang going through all that in Korea and then seeing how efficient it is. And then comparing it to how, because I love trains. I love the MRT and the LRT. So, nung na-experience ko yung subway in Korea, I was like, this is so nice. So, parang nako-compare ko siya na we could have better. We could have something better in the Philippines. And I think I left Korea feeling like, I think we deserve better, and I wish buhay pa ako by the time na we can have something like that here. So, ayun, yun talaga yung mga pinaka experiences, two things that really stuck out to me when I was there na I think the whole time when we're walking, I always think back to, oh, this compared to us, or this is something maybe we can do this too, or something like that. Ganun.
Oh, parang hearing their stories, parang nagkakaisa sila sa mga sagot eh. Even other delegates, ganun din yung sagot sa public transport and all, sa history, kung gaano ka-rich yung history ng Korea. How about ikaw, Chay?
I think I'll also share the same sentiments. Kasi in Korea, you in South Korea, you really can see how even if modern times na, they're still able to preserve their own history, their culture, and they are also able to showcase it in a way na even if you're from different generations, you can still feel yung importance of their culture, of their freedom to them.
They could relate.
Yes, parang hindi siya a new thing to them. So, it was really an amazing experience for us na like they appreciate their culture like that. And then also, yun din, public transportation, since I also commute most of my life. So, nakita ko talaga yung efficiency na meron kang, makikita mo kung ilang minutes na lang darating yung bus. And then we also use Naver
map.
So, hindi kami nawala at all sa Korea. Kahit na, for example, nagkaroon kami ng mga side quests, personal side quests. Hindi kami nawala, as in, safely kaming nakabalik sa accommodation from wherever we are. So, ayun. And then, siguro personally din, I would also say na it really did not, parang, hindi naman siya nabago, but it just proved a point to me na there's really more to Korea than the K-pop and the K-drama, na they are also experiencing challenges that the Philippines is actually also experiencing. So, kumbaga, nakaano lang sila na they have this very good suit outside, but if you really dig deeper into their culture and society, and then if you also interact with their locals, marami ka pang matututunan from them, and how you can also somehow go into that and then appreciate that, and then somehow you can also connect it with the Philippines. So,
That's so good to hear. Thank you, Chay. Paano nyo i-describe yung biggest takeaway ninyo in one sentence talaga, no? In short, ano lang, sentence siguro. Takeaway from all of the things that you mentioned kanina. Sasagutin nila yan mamaya. We'll have a short break, mga kasali. O, binato na namin yung tanong sa inyo. We'll just have a short break, mga kasali. Sa ating pagbabalik, ipagpapatuloy pa rin natin ang ating kwentuhan. Kasama pa rin po sina Chynna Luis Riego from UP Asian Center, John Miguel Bersamira, UP College of Law, and si Hans Margret Gadia, ng UP Diliman.
Maaari po kayo magpadala ng inyong mga komento, katanungan, shoutout, or greetings sa comment section ng DZUP, Facebook, and YouTube Live. Ito pa rin ang UP Atin To, kwentuhang may utak, kwentuhang may puso, na may K. DZUP 1602, K Salika.
Ano daw ang nangyari sa Lata pagpasok niya sa Universidad ng Pilipinas?
Naku, ibang bungad to. Si Kuya Mark, napapakamot sa atin. Ano ba nangyayari sa Lata?
Eh di na, UP.
Isang magandang reunion ang pagbabalik dito sa DZUP Studio.
Para saan naman ng utak kung walang puso?
Best part of my education is my life in UP, and I'm very proud to be from UP.
Hindi mo naaapakan yung karapatan niya. Your idea of a strategy will be as good as any.
Produced it with compassion, with feeling, and with integrity, then those stories have been worth doing and sacrificing for.
Lumalalim, lumalawak yung pananaw natin sa media at komunikasyon.
Lahat tayo may kakayahan, lahat tayo may masasabi.
Kasali po kayo sa ating talakayan.
Sa DZUP 1602 kHz, sa inyong mga radyo,
sa audio streaming sa dzup.org, sa Facebook page at YouTube channel ng DZUP.
Abangan pa po ang iba pa pong episode sa bagong kaalaman ngayong tanghalian.
Kwentuhang may utak, kwentuhang may puso.
UP Atin To.
Halika na makinig sa DZUP 1602. Tayo na makinig sa DZUP 1602. Ikaw ako tayo sa DZUP 1602.
That time, I was wearing a jacket and pants. Suot ko nun yung pulang bestida na bigay ng nanay ko.
I was wearing a sando and black leggings.
Nakasuot ako ng daily school uniform kasi may pasok nun.
Whatever we were wearing, we were not and we will never be asking for it. End victim blaming. Stop rape culture.
A public service reminder from DZUP 1602. Kasali ka.
Uy, ikaw. Oo, ikaw. Naalala mo ba kung anong mga nahawakan mo sa buong maghapon? Nung binuksan mo yung pinto palabas. Nung nagbayad ka ng pamasahe.
Papo yung 20.
Iyang kakainin mong pagkain. Ang mga pang-araw-araw nating gawain ay maaring magpasa ng mikrobyong nagdudulot ng sakit. Parating maghugas ng mga kamay upang mapanatili itong malinis. Isang paalala mula sa DZUP 1602, kasali ka.
Pasok ka rito!
Tara sa kwentuhang may utak.
Kwentuhang may puso.
UP Atin To.
Kaya alaman, kay buluhan, kay saya. It's K-time!
Nagbabalik po ang kwentuhang may utak, kwentuhang may puso na may K, UP Atin To, it's K-time.
So with us are our lovely delegates, Chynna, Migs, and Marg.
Bati ulit kayo sa ating mga listeners and viewers. Go, Chay. Go, Marg.
Hi, mga kasali.
Happy lunchtime dahil tanghali na.
Ayan. So, nandito na tayo sa pinakamainit na tanong ngayong hapon. So, after the program, tuloy pa rin ang engagement nyo through talks and written engagement through your output. So, nakapag-post kayo sa vlog ng official UPKRC website at nagkaroon na rin ng partnerships ang UPKRC sa inyong respective colleges and institutes para makapag-host ng Post-KONECT colloquium, which would be their research presentation in connection to the lectures that they have listened to over the past 2 weeks. So, pwede nyo bang i-share kung tungkol saan yung inyong university talks or colloquial presentations? We can have you first, Migs. Since si Migs, nagkaroon siya ng kanyang colloquium talk sa UP Baguio. Bumalik siya sa kanyang roots.
Ayun. So, I designed my paper based sa lecture, yung nabanggit kanina ni Marg sa Inha University on the intersectionality of religion and politics. So, that's the foundation of my research paper. So, I presented a working paper entitled Divine Politics, How Faith and Fear Fuel Populism in Philippines and South Korea. So basically ang premise lang nung research paper is it seeks to understand how religion often seems to be deemed as a stabilizing force, creates or become a tool as to polarize people and to force coercive measures and policies. Ayan.
Let's have you next, Mark.
Okay. Hello. For me naman, yung title nung naging presentation ko was Lessons in Soul, Women in Wartime, because I focused on the experiences of comfort women in Korea during World War II. And this is something na is also present in our own history because in World War II, we also had comfort women here in the Philippines. And yung main focus talaga was laying out the facts based on what we saw, especially during the Wednesday demo, our visit sa War and Women Museum, and the Q&A we had there. And we also got a lot of resources kasi during that visit. So I used those as a resource for it. Siguro yung next na titingnan ko naman is here in the Philippines, how we're like presenting it in our history and in our education, ganyan. Kasi something that I reflected, one of the reflections I had while I was preparing that presentation was that Korea has a lot of resources for it. They have a lot of like active studies or like museums dedicated to it, but in the Philippines there isn't a lot of that. So it would be interesting to see how our own history portrays that in comparison siguro, or maybe like hindi naman comparison, like just to see how different it is, because we both had those same periods in our history, and one of us is doing better in terms of historical preservation. And why is that? Ayun, so yun yung main focus ng akin.
Yeah.
Pakin-
Yes. For my end naman, my study is actually inspired by a mix of two lectures that we had in Korea. So it was one in Dongguk University because they talked about multilateralism, and then one in Namso University wherein they talked about the Korean Studies curriculum for the global minds. So my study is actually a comparative study on the colonial restructuring of higher education during the Korean occupation by in Korea during the Japanese occupation, and then the Philippines during the American occupation. So basically, the study revolves around examining kung ano yung mga inintroduce ng mga colonial powers in changing the higher education landscape in both of the countries, and how these legacies still persists in modern times. So doon makikita or ma-highlight natin how they used education as a tool to coerce and to somehow parang force their own language, their own parang standards for higher education through that study. So yun po, yung at least what I came up with for the colloquium.
Sa inyong presentation ba, ano ang pinaka-proud kayong part? May ganun bang moment? Migs?
Siguro ako yung application ng framework na tinuro sa amin ng prof ko. As I've mentioned earlier, I started researching about Korea during a course, yung Government and Politics of East Asia. And that is patterned in international relations framework. So IR framework siya. And we use a comparative framework wherein may independent variable, may dependent variable, may mechanisms, may intervening variables and such. So yun, I use that framework to highlight yung differences and similarities in terms of how religion is used to justify certain policies, certain measures by populist leaders in both Korea and in the Philippines. So I think yun yung pinaka-proud ako kasi yung most of the audience of that colloquium are students of that specific course. So somehow I contributed on how they understand that framework, because at first parang mahirap siyang intindihin. Parang sobrang technical nung framework na yun. So when I presented my paper using that framework, I think I contributed something in their learnings then on their part. Ganun.
Thanks, Migs. Marg?
For me, siguro yung part sa presentation ko na I showed how yung current issues natin really still affect yung historical issues, preservation, and education here in the Philippines. Kasi there was one part in my presentation where because Japan is actively trying to take down comfort women's statues in different parts of the world. And in the Philippines, we used to have one, I think along Rojas Boulevard, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry if I'm wrong. Pero that statue got taken down, and to make way daw for flood control projects. And when I presented my paper, yun yung medyo height nung flood control issue. So seeing that even in like the resources, it's very obvious how even yung issues that persist in our country today, mga things na pinag-uusapan actively even in like hearings that we see on television, kahit yung mga ganong bagay na ngayon nangyayari, they still affect things. They affected things that happened in the past, kahit na no matter how long it has been since na take down yung statue na you still don't know where it is now. It really shows na may intersection yung mga problema natin dito sa bansa. And I think that's one of the things that I was really proud of sa it's like connecting that with what's happening right now.
Sa akin naman, what really stood out to me the most, it's like a full circle moment. Kasi po, the study is actually a second part of I intended it to be a 3-part comparative study on decolonization studies. So yung first part actually, na-present ko na siya last year pa for Asian Center Graduate Conference, and it focused on indigenous writing. So parang I entitled it as ang pagbaybay ng Bathala. So it's a comparative study on Hangul and Baybayin for the Philippines. And then now now presenting the second part on the colonization period naman. So how it transformed the education systems from that on indigenous culture, and then now with the second part is how these two countries are reclaiming yung edukasyong para sa bayan. So it was parang a redeeming moment for these two countries on still fighting for an education that is truly under or parang rooted in the own language and culture of Philippines and South Korea.
Yeah, very nice to hear. Na very educational, informative, tapos parang buong-buo yung naging substance ng naging talks nyo sa inyong respective universities. So with that in mind, you think that it's very effective to be there in person, no? To be able to collect information, to be able to process like whatever outputs you want to write, whether it would be blogs or research papers. So paano nakapag-contribute yung pagsusulat nyo sa pag-process na experience? We could have Mark first.
Siguro for me, writing it down first really helped me make sense of the whole experience. Kasi it's 2 weeks and there's a lot that happened. So I think writing, not just I think the blog that we did, but also yung ideas for the paper and the presentation really helped me focus on what made the most impact to me and what I wanted to focus on and what I wanted to highlight from the experience and connect that back to our own experiences here. Writing it down really helped me figure out ano yung important parts that we can share and how to siguro most efficiently share it to others, especially in a presentation format. Kasi like I said, sa sobrang dami naming naging topics and talks during our trip. Kahit iba-iba sila ng topic, a lot of it is still kind of connected to each other. So having that, like going through my notes, the pictures I had from the lectures, and putting that together into one coherent presentation really helped me try to make the most productive output out of that whole experience beyond just talking about what I experienced there but also reflecting on it.
Yes, mas na-organize and na-process yung experience, no, in a more meaningful way. How about you, Migs?
Siguro for me, yung writing experience ko, it's a way of memorializing of what happened, what transpired in those 2 weeks. Specifically yung lecture on like religion and politics in Inha University. So when I started writing yung research paper, until now working paper pa rin siya. So parang it gives me somehow idea on to make sense of what is happening in reality in Korea and in the Philippines, like yung social reality here in Korea and the Philippines. So parang when I am writing, parang nagme-make sense lalo if right now, kunyari yung mga supporters of one politician here, and sa Korea yung rise of conservatism. So parang when I was writing yung parang pinaka working paper ko, that's parang yun na memorialize yung experience and also yung learnings from those different lectures that we attended then.
Yeah. From my end naman, siguro the whole experience also gave us the chance to get to know or at least know yung mga local perspectives and narratives, because sometimes what you see on the internet, may mga ano siya, 'di ba? Parang it can be leaning to another parang let's say view, or they have like mga biases involved. But when we were there, it's really like talking firsthand with the faculty and the students. So ano talaga yung what they are observing based on what they see on the ground. So nakikita talaga natin yung reality nila na minsan hindi naman na-encapsulate in terms of mga scholarly articles kasi you also rely on second-hand resources. But for us, we were given the chance to really engage with the locals and with university professors, our co-students. So somehow we had that exchange or discussion na kung ano talaga yung feeling nila or perspective nila about the issue, which also parang contributes to how we will now present our own studies and papers. So, kumbaga, it's a mixture of what we see on the internet and then what is actually happening on the ground. So, yun po.
Thank you for sharing. Siguro, as we wrap up our episode dahil ilang minutes na lang ang natitira bago tayo magpaalam, looking at your entire Connect journey from exposure to learning and reflection, it really shows the value of these kinds of experiences. Ito na yung takeaway part.
Yes.
Ano yung key takeaways ninyo from the entire Connect experience? Let's start with Mark.
Pwede naman i-explain po yung bakit di ba?
Oo naman.
Yes.
Ito na ba yung one sentence?
One sentence talaga.
Okay. Siguro yung main takeaway ko is that the Korea and the Philippines, we have similar challenges but we approach it differently. And there's a lot of things that we can learn from each other. So, hindi lang sa transportation, hindi lang sa history, but also other
ilapit mo lang ang
microphone. Hindi lang sa transportation, sa history, but also in other things like multiculturalism, our culture, lifestyles, ganun. Pati yung, even the issues about foreign workers here in Korea, maybe here also in the Philippines. There's a lot of we can learn from each other.
Thanks, Mark. Migs?
Siguro one of the key takeaway then, yung I would like to highlight yung relationship of Philippines and Korea that started even way before in today's time, like from the Korean War. So doon nag-start lahat yung relationship ng Korea, and from that relationship, I think also echoing from what Mark said, Philippines has a lot to learn with from Korea, especially in terms of socioeconomic plans, in governance, in politics, in culture, and in history. So there's a really lot to learn. There's a learning curve for Philippines that the Philippines could really emulate from Korea. So yun, parang from that, I think the Philippine-Korean relationship parang should be take advantage of by the Philippines to learn from the methodologies of the Korean people, how they manage to preserve their history without compromising like the modern demands of the modern times. So that's my overall takeaway.
Mahirap pala pag last ka na kasi may pressure. But siguro from my whole experience, my greatest takeaway is that we should always be open to opportunities and perspectives that will enable us to be a community of nations. So, kumbaga parang Korea and the Philippines, as Marg and Migs have already shared, meron talagang similar cultures and lifestyles. And that we can learn from each other. So, like, Philippines can also impart whatever knowledge or experiences they have in terms of addressing issues. And then in turn, Korea can also impart their knowledge for us. So it's like an equal learning exchange opportunity for both of the countries. And siguro, banking on having a community. So I also shared about interacting with the locals, with the university professors, with the students, and even yung mga halmonies, mga grandmothers, yung mga local vendors. So it's really parang a part of me knowing about this community is alive within Korea. And then also I also have to give a good shout out to the rest of my delegates, the Connect delegation, kasi being the ate of the group, I really learned also a lot from them. Since we are also having different backgrounds in our studies, we also have our own stories to share. We have our own experiences to share. So basically, what Connect program for me, at least, is is a community wherein I can be able to share my knowledge and equally learn from my co-delegates and from the rest of the people that we get to know through the program. So, yan po.
Oh, really nice to hear na mostly positive yung naging takeaways natin. Pero in terms of for the people who are first-time visitors of Korea, ano siguro yung maipapayo nyo? Both in terms of practical tips and mindset expectations.
Kailangan na ba nilang mag-practice maglakad?
Huwag kayong pumunta ng summer.
Yes!
Hindi, joke lang.
Daw kasi talaga.
Like, sobrang humid kasi ng weather sa Korea.
Yes.
So, parang compare here na medyo mahangin, ganon. Sa Korea, parang ramdam mo yung lagkit, yung init sa air. So, parang yun. Pero aside from that siguro, sa mga first-timers sa Korea, yung mga mag-exchange students or mga tourist lang, siguro be curious enough to know Korea aside from what we see on TikTok, on Facebook, like yung mga we go beyond what are yung mga famous cultural sites. So to really get to know Korea more. So yan.
How about you, Mark? Kailangan ba mag-aral ng Korean?
For like practical tip, yes. Kahit konti lang.
Yes.
Especially if you plan on shopping around.
Ayan.
Ayan, konti lang.
Ulit.
Okay, I think for me, practical tip is yes, you should study at least like basic words or sentences, especially if you plan on shopping around or like talking to locals kasi there's a lot of benefit to it, like you get discounts.
Na-appreciate din talaga nila.
And also, siguro beyond just looking at like like already the popular spots. Also take your time to really just walk around. There's a lot to see and a lot to really ma-realize mo just visiting in a different country and like seeing how different it is and how similar it is with us. Kasi when I visited Korea also, parang medyo natanggal yung romanticization ko nung country because I saw the reality of it. Like, oh, they also have these things that we have. That's great to know.
Ooh, I'm listening so well. Parang madami akong natututunan sa inyong tatlo. How about you, Char?
Siguro from my end, even if na-highlight namin yung efficient public transportation, most of the time talaga naglalakad lang kami sa Korea in the heat. Under the heat.
Imagine the heat.
So, and then, hindi talaga sila naniniwala na it's much hotter sa Korea than the Philippines during summer. So, as in, nangitim talaga kaming lahat during that time. So, baon kayong sunblock.
That's the number one question I received from the locals. Like, which is hotter, here or the Philippines?
Really?
It's like, here. They're always so surprised.
So, yun. And then, siguro, one also tip is that, kasi it's a 2-week study tour for us. So, very packed talaga yung itinerary namin. But there are also times na hindi namin nasusunod yung itinerary namin because yung iba pagod na or it was too late already. Siguro, parang for me, it's also embrace the beauty of not really following your schedule. Kasi, when we were there, yung mga restaurants na napupuntahan namin, parang laging hole in the wall, very random restaurants, but at the end of the day, parang very satisfying kasi masarap naman yung food, maganda yung experience namin, and then like we're also able to interact with the locals more. So parang even if you have your set itinerary, siguro be also open to change. And that yung mga changes na yun can also give you much more meaningful experience in visiting South Korea.
Siguro last na lang before we end, if you could encourage others to join Connect or similar programs, anong encouraging words niyo sa kanila?
Ayun, just like what I said, be curious enough to learn because there's really a lot to learn about Korea and those learnings you can really adopt here in the Philippines. So yun, be curious enough to learn. Yun lang talaga. And parang be patient din sa takbo nung magiging program, ganun. Like take your time in in absorbing everything. Wag mong madaliin. Like live in the moment.
Yes.
That's all.
Tsaka sabi ng other delegates, during the application, talagang ibinigay nila yung best daw nila. Utak at puso.
Like, best foot forward para mapasok sa program na to. So yun, just be curious enough to learn. That's all I think.
Marg?
Medyo similar, I would say. Be ready to learn because you will be listening and sitting down in a lot of lectures. But also, be ready to have fun. Because sabi nung friend ko nung kinento ko sa kanya yung trip na to, parang kang nag-PBB ng 2 weeks. Kasi you don't know. Like, we met for the first time in the airport, so you have to like really be medyo kind of extroverted, I guess, at first. And then you adjust with each other. So, be ready to have friends, but also learn a lot and have a lot of siksik, liglig at umaapaw na learnings. Ayan.
Can I add lang din na na parang there's also a beauty in, like, for me, like going on an international trip in a new country with new people. Like, sobrang parang it's an experience in itself talaga. Like, exploring a new country with new people. Ayun.
Yeah.
Thanks, Migs. Chay?
Yeah, siguro, same ano lang din naman, but siguro from my end, kasi, hindi naman po halata, no, pero introvert talaga ako.
Mga introvert tayo.
So, in doing those things, parang lagi kong iniisip na kaya ko ba to? Or parang, is it a good experience for me? So, I say, di ba, lagi naman natin naririnig na, sige, kaya mo yan, do it. Parang, no regrets, parang ganon. So, siguro from my end is that, being part of the Connect program, at first, it can really get scary kasi yung application phase pa lang very serious na. But, at the same time, you will also be able to have new experiences and that you just really need to have the courage to do it. So, parang don't let opportunities pass by you. Grab it and then enjoy it while you have it. And then yun nga, sinasabi din ni Migs na lahat kami actually were strangers from the start. Di namin kilala yung isa't isa.
Via Zoom pala yung mga meeting niya sa una.
Online lang talaga. And then the first time that we actually saw each other was sa airport na. So it was also really an adjustment phase for every one of us. But turns out, we had this good relationship with one another. Oo, naka-jive naman kami ng ngayon. So, yeah, Connect is a very insightful learning experience, but at the same time, you get to keep moments like this. Yung may mga inside jokes na kayo, may mga sarili kayong stories na, and then when you share it with other people, parang, ay, sayang, naiinggit sila that they are not able to be part of it. So, I say, just go apply for it, and then make the most out of it. Kasi it will really help you a lot in terms of your academics, your professional, and of course, yung mga stories that you can share with other people.
Aww.
Congratulations.
Ayan na nga. Tapos na tayo. So, maraming salamat po sa ating mga naging panahon ngayong araw. Si Chynna Luis Riego of UP Asian Center, John Miguel R. Bersamira of UP College of Law, and Hans Margret Gadia of UP Diliman, the final featured 3 of 9 Connect 2025 delegates under the UP Career Research Center.
Maraming salamat sa inyo. Meron ba kayong mga gustong batiin or i-shout out? Go ahead.
Pamilya or friends.
Yung other delegates ninyo.
Shout sa mga Connect participants dyan. Hello. Sana mag-meet na tayo ulit soon lahat.
Kaya nga. True.
Oh.
Siguro shout out kay Ma'am Bay. Ang dami, I mean, Ma'am Bay is really an essential person with this whole Korean Connect program. So we are really grateful for her assistance and for her patience nung nandun kami sa Korea, for kindly explaining all of it for us, kindly translating the language to us. So, shout out sa iyo, Ma'am Bay.
Bukod sa mga nabanggit nila, siguro shout out sa mga locals na na-meet namin. We're probably never gonna meet again. We're so happy that you were part of our journey, and we were part of your that one day, that random day in Korea.
Yes.
Thank you. So that really highlights how meaningful and enriching yung whole Connect experience ng ating mga delegates, Venus. Ayan. Para po sa mas marami pang makabuluhang diskusyon sa loob at labas ng Oblation, bisitahin ang aming website, dzup.org, ilike pong Facebook page ng DZUP, and don't forget to subscribe sa DZUP YouTube channel.
Maaari rin natin i-follow ang social media pages ng UP Career Research Center through our official Facebook page, page and YouTube channel. Ang UP KRC binubuo ng aming director ni si Dr. Kyungmin Bae, Senior Project Officer ni si Miss Pamela Hakar, and yours truly as Research Assistant.
Yan. Venus, tell us more about ulit anong ginagawa ng UP KRC.
Ang UP KRC po ay isa sa mga maraming university-wide hubs sa UP system. Tumutulong po kami sa pag-promote at develop ng Korean studies sa UP at sa buong bansa. We sponsor interdisciplinary research and educational activities on Korean studies, and we also facilitate the training of the next generation of Koreanists in the country.
At maligayang pagbati rin sa UP KRC sa pagdiriwang ng ika-10 anibersaryo this year. 10 taon po ng dedikasyon at pagpapalakas ng Korean-Philippine relations sa larangan ng edukasyon, pananaliksik at kultura. Congratulations!
Yay! Congrats UP KRC. We're all part of history.
Yes.
So yan. Diyan magtatapos ang ating 3-episode UP Atin To It's K-Time mini-series dito sa DZUP. We had episode 1, Anyong Hanap Mo, Connect Delegates Initial Impression of Korea with Kriza of West Visayas State University, Mahir of Mindanao State University, and Aya of University of Santo Tomas. Second episode, we had Halyubilyo Experience, Exploring Korea featuring the Connect Delegates with Gap of Ateneo de Manila University, Seer of Far Eastern University, and Mika of Miriam College. And last but not the least, our third episode, Bogoshipdayo tayo muli, Post-KONECT Study Tour Reflections with Chynna of UP Asian Center, Migs of UP College of Law, and Marg of UP Diliman. Maraming salamat po sa ating Connect Delegates at sa Kwentuhang Utak at Puso. Mas naging buhay ang ating talakayan sa pagkatuto mula sa iba't ibang mga kultura.
Maraming salamat din sa iyo, Venus. Ayan, sa pangalan po ng ating mga kasamahan sa programang ito, sa ating streaming director si Johnson and si Jean, technical team Kuya Mark, Kuya Ramon, Kuya Raymond, sa ating production team si Cindy, si Almira, sa aming program director Michelle Martinez, at sa station manager si Assistant Professor Ivy Claudio. Ako po si JJ Malate.
At ako po si Venus Samonte sa DZUP 1602, kay Salika.
Kay alaman, kay buluhan, kay saya. It's K-Time!
Kwentuhang may utak.
Kwentuhang may puso.
UP Atin To. Lunes hanggang Biyernes sa DZUP 1602, kasali ka.